God. Hello, 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 hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk.
Yes.
I am Wendy Stuart.
And I am not. I am Tym Moss.
You?
I'm Tym Moss.
Oh, I'm so glad because there's this guy named Tim that shows up every week. Everyone's got a doppelganger. You could have been a
right,
doppelganger.
exactly. So how are you?
Oh, how am I?
Oh.
So people who are watching, if you're from New York, you'll understand this. If you are anywhere else in the country, you probably have a car. I did something like so wild and crazy. I got a used car. I'm a diehard New Yorker. I bought this car. But
you also have a summer place or a country place.
I do, because car rentals, as many of you will find out, have gone through the roof because of the pandemic. So I have this car, and I got to tell you, I'm picking it up Monday, but I'm like freaking out. Tim, it's a responsibility.
It is. It's huge responsibility.
We don't like responsibilities.
We're artists.
I don't like responsibility. Right. Artists don't like responsibilities. And as I was telling Tim, all my Pennsylvania friends said to me, well, it's about time. And all my New York City friends said, what? You got a car? Why would you want it?
Crazy?
Right. Are you crazy? So I'm so scrambled from this car thing that when I was coming here, I missed the stop on the train and rode to Queens. I tell you, your life passes in front of you when you go over that bridge.
Yeah, right.
You're like,
exactly.
Oh God,
what the hell?
It's really
going
happening.
Into uncharted territory.
But I'm so happy to be here with Tim today.
Me too. I finally got vaxxed. I am 100% totally vaxxed. I got my second shot last week. So I'm like Superman right now.
Right. I
Seriously.
can see it. You're like all totally pumped up.
Yes, exactly.
You give him a little Moderna. He gets totally pumped up for taste. Well, listen, the CDC just came out today and said, no masks outside in July. But of course, people being people, even on my way here today, people had their masks off already.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens next. But what is going to happen next on our show today? We have a really, really fabulous guest. Our guest today went from what they called hair bands to glam bands, hitting grunge along the way.
He's a musician. He's in movies.
He's
an author.
Right. He's an author of
everything.
The book Rockin Recipes For Autism. I would love for you to meet Kenny Wilkerson.
Yay! Woo!
There he is.
There's the book.
That was perfect.
How you guys doing?
Perfect timing, Kenny. Welcome.
How are you doing?
My dad's a used car salesman, by the way. Been selling used cars for 55 years.
Get out. Well, I'm sure your dad is fine, but I have to tell you, I didn't look at many cars, but yeah, I understand where they got the term used car salesman from. Wow. But I'm sure your dad's perfectly lovely.
Well, but there's so many variables when buying a car. Seriously.
There are.
No, my dad was too nice. That was his problem. Honestly.
I should have found your dad to buy the car from. So it's so really great to have you here with us today.
Yes.
How's life in Florida treating you, Kenny?
Florida's okay. I mean, it's a little bit like the Wild Wild West. I heard you talking about masks. I think we were like the first ones. We don't have masks now.
Yeah, just to abandon them.
But they gave them up already.
I'll tell you something interesting. And I was telling Tim this. I was in St. Pete a week ago. And it seems in Florida, it's every county does their own thing. In St. Pete, heavy masking. And there were a lot of tourists, but everyone had masks on anywhere you went. Even if you were eating open air. I mean, not when you're eating, but people were really obliging to put masks on. So I guess it depends on where you are. New York, we were double masked here for the longest time, but now it's summer and we all have our game plan.
Hell, I went out for a year wearing a condom just to be on the safe side.
Tim, they say the word mask. He doesn't say where. Oh my God.
I have so many comments right now. I don't know where to start. I'll tell you, we did, I played the Daytona Bike Week back in March.
In March.
It was completely packed and not one mask.
Wow. Yeah.
Listen, I can't get into that whole soapbox thing.
Yeah, right.
And each state is different, by the way. I mean, you can't compare South Dakota with New York City. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But what was weird, we had Bike Week, which is the first time everybody really got back out. And then right after the following week after that was spring break, no mask. And the actual COVID rates went down the following week.
Wow, incredible.
You know what? This is just all so crazy. But I'm so glad you got to play Bike Week. It had to be because for the last year you haven't been able to do anything like that.
No live performances here. Oh my God.
No, it's been tough. I mean, I got a little bit lucky because in Florida, I've been staying close to home.
Yeah.
So with that being said, there was a couple of spots here. We rigged a few things up. You know, there was a thing where there for a while you could only open if you served so much food. So we made a deal with a bar to where you had to pay for the dinner and got the entertainment for free. Like I was just trying to think outside the box how to 50% occupancy. I can't even say that, but we would do like 2 shows a day. You know what I mean? So we did like a Vegas kind of thing where you do an hour and a half, empty the room out, do another hour and a half.
Right.
So we were trying to stay alive. We were a little luckier than a lot of people, but speaking of this, my fiance just got back on Sunday night. She's a traveling nurse, and she was.
Oh wow! Tell us what that was like.
Yeah, Ventura. Well, it was pretty good. First of all, she's in Ventura, California. So that was really nice because you're in California.
Yeah.
I did fly out there for 3 days. And it was the first week that they now this is like 2 months ago, but it was the first week they actually opened outside dining. And the problem was at night, it was 45 degrees. I mean, how do you eat outside at 45 degrees? Not 40, right?
We saw that. Yeah, we did. We had heat lamps here. Yeah. Although I've told you, I mean, we've sat out there freezing our cañones off, with the heat lamp is great if it's just right over you, but then the cold air and the wind comes in on their side.
But I think what they have here in Florida right now, it's 100% occupancy.
Yeah, they do.
Outside, and then a 60% inside for now. But I think that's only lasting for another month. They say after we're 50% vaccinated, which I think we're in the 40 percentile. As soon as that happens, then they're going to open it wide open.
I am dying to talk to you about Nova Rex and
so many.
What's a hair band? I mean, I think I know, but I love reading about a hair band. What's a hair band?
Well, I don't really know how that definition happened. I guess because it was a lot of hair back then.
In the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah. I mean, we've been together since 1985. So this is 36th anniversary, and that's something on its own, right? Just to be able to do that. And of course, we went through all the phases, and the grunge and then all that. But for me, 80s was like the last real decade of music. I mean, you had the 50s, which I grew up with that from my family, my parents. 60s, of course, 70s, 80s. 90s had a little bit of that grunge movement, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, a little bit, right.
It didn't last as long as the other ones. And then tell me what's happened since 2000.
Right.
I mean, okay, but hold on, devil's advocate. Yeah. I'm a really huge EDM person.
Oh, you like that?
I love electronic dance. I'm not kidding you. I will for a really great EDM DJ. I'll travel. I'm one of those. It's a different thing. I agree with you. And this is the thing. We love all kinds of music. We talk about that all the time. But that came about, and I have to tell you, it's definitely I'm on the radar with that kind of music as well. But I hear what you're saying because I came up during the time that you're talking about with the big hair bands, Kiss, and
for Bon Jovi, all that.
Yeah.
Right. For me, that was creativity.
Yeah.
Those were bands that wrote music. They wrote the lyrics. They performed it. It had a melody. They performed live. They did all of this. And then after the 2000s, with the computers and the internet and all of that came out, they would take other people's creations, and bend them around and form. You know what I mean? And then call it original.
Well, excuse me. I say it all the time now because with the music business, I study, I do reports on it and stuff sometimes. And I know that they said a few months ago that vinyl outsold CDs. Yeah. Vinyl records. Wow. But the thing is, it's not because vinyl's doing better. It's because CDs are doing worse.
Right.
I don't have a CD player in my car. I don't have one on my computer. Nope. Everybody does iTunes and everything is singles now.
Right. Everything's digital.
It's just, here's one song. So, for me growing up, I used to buy, say, I don't even know, let's say an Eagles album.
Yeah.
You would go, sometimes you track, the third track that wasn't their hit. You got deeper cuts. and you want to know who produced it, who wrote it, who whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen anymore. If you have auto-tune and a drum machine, you can make a song.
And now, and also now, like, say Beyonce, for example.
Right.
If you look at all the credits on there, there's like 100 people involved in the writing and the words and the production and all of that.
It's all technical now.
Yeah.
You know, to produce.
Well, I watched the documentary like everybody. I've been watching Netflix and HBO Max and all that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much caught up on everything.
Right.
Which I'm hooked on a show right now called Schitt's Creek.
Oh, everybody loves it. That's a great show.
I never knew about it.
Yeah.
I've been like power watching it for a few days. But
isn't it brilliant?
I watched the documentary on Linda Ronstadt. Beautiful. Oh, wow. Right, beautiful.
Wait, I haven't seen that. That's on Netflix now. Oh, good. I'm so glad we're here today with you. Like now I found something out. I didn't know that.
But what it was is she didn't write any songs. I
guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she never wrote any songs. They were always well, you were talking about Beyonce. She has songwriters.
Right.
And a lot of times that songwriters that's writing for Beyonce is also writing for Rihanna, who's also writing for whoever. Right. So you don't even have that. She's just a performer at that point.
Yeah.
And for us, we used to go in and say we had a song that we liked. We would actually perform it maybe a few times first to see how the crowd reaction before I'd spend the time to go cut it. So all that stuff's changed.
It's all different.
Right. But what you were saying before, like with the Eagles album, like I remember, and it was so cool because we used to go to the record store to flip through all the albums, and I would buy an Eagles album for one song.
Right.
And then you discover all the other songs that are on there.
Right. That doesn't happen.
I miss that so much.
But wait, don't all of you when you download it, right? I download digital albums just to do exactly what you said, but I'm not thumbing through the records at the record store, right? I'm going through and listening to it online. But you are right. It's not the same feeling as when you would touch those giant LPs. Exactly.
It's a different feel.
It's totally.
And I usually just buy a song.
Right.
Like, everybody does. I'll buy the one song.
You buy the one song, yeah.
And that's good because you can do that because every damn song that's out there, you can get it free somewhere. You know what I mean? So the record business, and plus when it comes to iTunes and all that, there's no money to be made there.
Oh, right.
1/10 of a penny per download or whatever. And even now when we sell CDs at shows, and I still have, CDs on me, basically it's $10 for an autograph. And they'll still go home and download it on iTunes.
Right.
If you have a CD player, you know what I mean? So the music business is pretty screwed up. The only thing left out there, because radio airplay is hard to get because there's only a couple of companies running the whole show, right? And then it's basically just touring. And they took that away for a year. So
with the pandemic. How did you get started being a bassist, Kenny?
You know what it was? I think it was I had a friend of mine that I went to school with had a drum set. This is when I'm about 13, by the way.
It always starts at 13.
He knew when he had a friend that played guitar, so I think it just was the next thing. I wanted to be in it. And everybody asked me how I got into the rock and roll business, and I talk about the first show I ever did. I did a house party. That's what you did when you're 14. My mom had to drop me off because I didn't even drive yet.
I love it.
I go to a house party, and there's like 12 people there, right? And we have like maybe 1 hour of music total that we know, like 12 songs. But anyways, there was 3 girls there, and the rest were guys. All 3 of the girls tried to pick me up that night, and ever since then, I've been in rock and roll.
And the rest was history. My God. I
don't care what the story is. That's 90% of all musicians are that.
The women, definitely.
The women,
we all seem to start at 13 too. It's like
I was a mess by. I mean, I went to shrinks and stuff after years of being on the road. But back to the hair metal thing. I think what that was too is we were a bunch of broke musicians, and we used to wear all our girlfriends' clothes. That's what it was.
Great story.
Yeah, I still do it now with my fiance. She's got a pair of pants. I'm like, I can wear those, or whatever. And then still in your mom's eyeliner. But listen, the '80s didn't start that. I mean, I go back to like, what's his name, David Bowie.
Yeah. No, of course, right.
There's a ton of those guys. I mean, I can keep going. So that's probably where it started. Because when you're on, and you said you're a singer, right?
Yeah.
So there's a difference from being on stage, not on stage. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I even now, I mean, I can go to the grocery store. They know that I'm not, a doctor. You know what I mean? They know I'm a musician. You know, so it's part of it. You know, I always talk about it's our outfit for rock and roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in the 80s too, like wearing the women's stuff or putting on one of their scarves as a headband or something, that created that whole look.
Oh yeah.
Because that it was just such a fun fashion period. It was all about the hair,
Big hair.
Yeah.
Lots of big hair.
I mean, I used to love fashion-wise. I used to love guys like Adam Ant.
Oh my God, I loved Adam Ant.
Duran. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
bunch of bands out there that were really cutting edge that way. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, Cyndi Lauper does great too. She still looks great.
Yeah.
I saw her a couple of years ago. She's still incredible, you know. But that was such an explosive, creative time.
It was.
So you did a documentary called "Ain't Easy Being Cheesy."
I love it.
I knew you would love the title of that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how that came about. So back in about 2010, the band had a little low in the 2000s, right? We played up to about 2003 or 4. Then we kind of took a little bit of a break after all those years. And that's when I learned that I was all screwed up, by the way. And I moved to Florida, you know. So, what was you asking me again? I missed the question already.
Your documentary.
Documentary. What happened? Yeah, so
we
did this greatest hits CD, and then I noticed it was selling online. It had some legs, and I thought, well, I want to do like a glorified home movie. Like I had all these VHS tapes from back in the day, you know, when I'm 20 years old and stuff. And believe it or not a lot of that footage was kept by a lot of musicians. I mean, I can give you a few bands that are huge bands, and you can't find 3 videos on them before 1990. You know, wow. People didn't save that stuff. But I actually had a catalog of all these VHS tapes, and I wanted to put them on YouTube. I was talking to Buddy how to convert them. He's like, we should just do a documentary. So me and the original guitar player got together. We shot it in 3 days on a handheld camera, you know, lighting it, taking the lampshade off, you know.
I love it.
And damn, after it was all done, it actually told a story. Low budget, but it told a story. And I sent it off to some, I think Showtime or something, and the documentary channel picked it up. And when they picked it up at the time, they were on Dish, and DirecTV had like 30 million homes, and it aired for a couple of years. Then they got bought out by Pivot. So then when that happened, I picked up a distribution deal and got on Netflix.
Get out.
Nice.
That's a great story.
But this is 2012, before Netflix is Netflix now. I mean, it's different. That's back when they used to mail the DVDs to you.
Yeah, right. The red envelope, right?
Yeah.
You keep it as long as you want and then mail it back. And they give you
I really like that.
So that all happened. And but what's funny about it is, well, the Ain't Easy Being Cheesy was also a play on a CD that we released in 1994, which was kind of like anti-grunge. You know what I mean? We were totally like pop, whatever, Poison-y kind of thing. And so that's where it came from. But what's really wild is 2 weeks ago, we just started our new documentary, which I have so much crazy footage. Well, I kept GoPros with me this time around.
Oh,
I have all this craziness that happened along the way. You know, showing up in Texas and finding out that the rally that you're playing is a nude rally. That was crazy.
Get out. Really? Oh my
God. It was crazy thing. And you know, you got 2,000, 3,000 people all naked. And then
I love it.
And then we go to Sturgis a few years back, and we did this thing where we brought girls on stage, but it got a little too rowdy, if you know what I'm saying. It got to be all PG. And damn cops came in, tried to arrest us for starting like a nude rally kind of thing.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, and then, you know, breaking down and just different things that happen along the way. I mean, rock and roll is the craziest business. You know, I say if I worked this hard in any other business, I'd be retired by now, you know. But you're hooked, right? So.
Oh my God. Well, I want to go back to the beginning. Now, you're originally from Indiana.
I am from Indiana, yeah.
What part of Indiana? I'm from Indiana.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm from a town that's called Whiteland. That's where I graduated. It's
what?
Whiteland.
Whiteland. I don't know where that's at.
It's between Franklin, Indiana, and Indianapolis. So
okay.
Where were you? Because you said you're from Indiana, right?
Well, I got one for you too. I'm originally from 12 Mile, Indiana.
Okay, so I don't even know.
Yeah.
Wow, I got
does.
one here from 12 Mile, Indiana, and one here from Whiteland.
And
wow.
It's not because it was 12 miles long. It was probably maybe a mile, if that.
What do you think?
It was 12 miles from Logansport.
Okay, I know where Logansport is.
Wait, I don't know anything about it. Was Logansport's like what, a big town or a city?
No, it's a boonies.
It's a small town. Well, it's the biggest town in that region.
Okay,
but it's still not a big, no.
Well, yeah. The thing about my town now, it's got a lot bigger. It's completely changed since I
same here.
Time I graduated high school, we still had a grocery store that had 2 registers, and we had 2 stoplights.
Yeah, stoplights in the town.
You guys were advanced. We didn't have any stoplights.
We had 2 stoplights, and we had a Dairy Queen.
Wow.
Well, you know what?
Had it going on.
At the end of the day, that's all you need anyway. I totally love Dairy Queen.
But I'll tell you about Indiana. So I'm from there. I left Indiana to go to California, believe it or not. Not even 3 weeks after I graduated.
Wow.
And I made myself to Florida because I ran out of money, and then hooked up with we did the Nova X thing, and then the story goes. Now I actually took the band back to Indiana. What happened was back in 1992, after Nirvana did the whole grunge album and really changed the market, right? He completely changed everybody. Then I went back, and I remember flying back, and I'm sitting beside the guy. It's actually in the documentary. I'm sitting beside the guy, the owner from the Cheesecake Factory. And he's holding cheesecakes. Remember when you used to be able to bring crap onto airplanes?
Yes, right.
I flew one time with a lamp. I had a lamp in my lap the whole time.
Get out.
Yeah, you used to be able to smoke in them too, by the way.
Yes, right. And I was pissed because I would get pissed because we had to stop smoking to take off.
Yeah, all that crazy.
Wow.
But what happened was I was on this plane, and at this point I've already lived in LA for like 4 years. I'm pretty rocked out, right? I mean, I've got the LA swagger and swag and flying and all that. So I'm eyelinered up and whatever, hairspray out to here, Aquanet. But I get on the plane, and the stewardess kept eyeballing me, right? So they came over, and I'm like 23 at this point. I'm still pretty young. And the stewardess eyeballed me, and they were like, "Hey, are you in a band?" Right? So I said, "Hey, of course I'm in a band. I'm in this Nova X, blah, blah, blah." Well, then she ended up, before it was over with, she ended up making an announcement on the plane. "Hey, we like to think that we have a guest on the plane, blah, blah, blah." So I thought, well, this is pretty easy because I'm not in LA. You feel me? I'm on a plane heading to Indiana. So I had that kind of attitude. So when I got to Indiana, I just like took back over real quick and got airplay and Budweiser sponsorship, and we were doing all these kind of shows, and it bought the band a few more years.
That's really cool.
They were a little bit behind you know what I mean? They were a little, well, you're from there.
Yeah.
Indiana's 2.3 kids with a dog, a truck, and a basketball goal. That's Indiana, man. Great people, great place.
Yeah, and it's a good place to grow up if you're into that sort of thing.
And I haven't met anyone from Indiana that I didn't like.
Well, good.
There you go. But no, it was good. I bought some time up there. Then eventually I was like, look, I'm done. I'm going back to Florida. And I didn't want to go to LA just because, LA is so expensive, and plus everybody's left LA now anyways. All the rockers live either in Nashville or Texas. I mean, there's no rock scene there anymore. That's done for now. But Nashville is where everybody's going.
Yeah, I've heard everybody's going to Nashville, but you have so many unemployed musicians down there now because of this whole pandemic. Maybe that is not the best place to go.
Yeah, well, it's getting ready to free up. I mean, we know by the end of the summer we should be out of this completely, I would say, right? But you know what I was really worried about, especially being a year off. Now, like I said, I wasn't quite off a year. I was more off like 6-8 months and put a couple of shows. And
you're lucky.
I got lucky. I did get lucky, but. I don't know how a lot of these bands, if they're going to be staying together or not. With a year off like that, a lot of these guys had to get daytime jobs, and they're musicians anyway, so they're artists, so they're already kind of fragile. You know what I mean? In general. So I couldn't believe honestly, I couldn't believe there wasn't more suicides and stuff. I thought it would be even worse. But a lot of those guys, like us, just sitting around getting fat and just waiting. And they say too that musicians, on whatever level you're at, I mean, not if you're the Rolling Stones, but every other level, musicians, 80% of them live check to check, just like bartenders.
Right.
So none of these guys had money saved up. So a lot of people had to go out and, swing a hammer or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I got lucky because I got the radio gig. So that was a Monday through Friday thing. So that kept me moving, kept me occupied.
How did you get involved being a DJ at a radio station?
Well, I would say radio host, but well, what we just did was a talk show. We followed a guy named Bubba the Love Sponge. People know him. He was the guy. Remember when Hulk Hogan had that whole thing with the sex tape?
Oh my God, of course.
Bubba the Love Sponge was the one that filmed it out of his closet,
okay.
and the woman was Bubba's wife.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a whole other story, but I figured a lot of people.
No, but that's quite a story.
Yeah, I mean, so, but I mean, at one time, Bubba was right under Howard Stern as far as that kind of talk stuff.
Wow.
But all I did was it was easy to do. I just went in there and said, look, I'm the biggest star in here. I know a bunch of rockers. Let me, let's do a show. And I did it with a partner, Glenda G Love. And, I just interviewed my rock buddies, just like you guys do,
Yeah, that's why we like it.
Yeah, so we had fun, and I've interviewed some, actresses and some other stuff.
It's
so
cool.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I love it. Now,
but I will tell you, the radio business is even more messed up than the music business.
Right?
It's cutthroat. They will rip sponsors off from each other. They throw stuff on you to sabotage you. It can get real crazy.
Yeah, it's so sad, but I just see a whole overhaul of everything from film and radio and music and television and theater. It's all we've got to reapproach it. It has to, we have to.
Yeah. What kills me a little bit. So, first, early on, you had the Hollywooders, you know what I mean? And they're not normal, you know what I mean? They don't live the same life as us. So, but they're out there, basically they work themselves out of a job. Because what happened, all these movie theaters closed and they were already struggling, right? Movie theaters, they make money on popcorn. And so what I'm more concerned about is how are they going to do these big budget films? Now, obviously they just did the Godzilla, King Kong epic, which I watched on HBO Max. But I think it made, I don't even know, something like $9 million or something like that. But I'm like, my God, what happened? What are you going to do with like Titanic and stuff like that? Are they ever going to be making those kind of epic $100 million movies?
Exactly.
I don't see it happening.
I think about that all the time. I think that's one of the things that's going to change.
It's the same thing with music and everything. Yeah. They have to just a new approach. They have to find a new approach. Yeah,
you can't give Tom Cruise $40 million to do a movie because they'll never make it back.
Exactly. Well, you're watching If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our outstanding and wonderful guest, Mr. Kenny Wilkerson.
Yay!
Now, you're from the group Nova Rex.
Yes.
One thing I want to know is the name. Where did you come up with the name for Nova Rex?
Yeah, that's a cool.
We had a manager early on, and what it is, it's Latin. Nova is a comet. Rex means king, so it was basically Comet King. I didn't want to name it after an animal like rat or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's so many animal names for bands, but no, it means it. So when you see a comet in the sky, it means birth of a new king.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Nova.
Yeah.
The Nova comet.
Now I think we have a music video that we can take a look at right now.
Oh yeah.
Of Mr. Kenny Wilkerson, Mr. Kenny Wilkerson, and Nova Rex in.
Spin my head around, leave me high and dry. Take my broken heart, tell me why or why. Drive the stake right through, it's gonna leave a scar. Leave no trace behind, shows me who you are. Make no mistake, this is who I am. Just like you, not to give a damn. Leave me alone, hear the silence cry. Look in the light, just the die inside. Make no mistake, I'm wide awake. I'm coming back for more. You knock me down, just like a clown. You crazy girl, 'cause I don't know. I don't care. You don't. Love ain't fair. you more, can't get enough. Feel like hell, I still need your touch. Asking myself, are you crazy, man? Make no mistake, coming back again. Just like you, the slamming open door, feel my pain. You're coming back for more, looking alive, just to die inside. Want you, girl, can't take no more. Make no mistake, I'm wide awake. I'm coming back for more. You knock me down just like a clown. You crazy girl. 'Cause I don't know. I don't care. You don't love ain't fair.
Yay!
Yeah, that's a little heavier stuff. I was just thinking, man, that's a lot of just for men hair coloring going on there.
You know what, Kenny? That's what I love though about the whole video, because it really encompasses the whole feel of that kind of music, right? It's metal. There's hair. It's just like the instruments. It had a sense of humor.
Well,
People don't realize metal's got a sense of humor.
Somebody's got to do. Listen, it's rock and roll, man. You can't be serious or you freaking drive yourself crazy.
Right.
And I love that. I love your yellow bass. That's so cool.
My gold sparkly bass. That's
awesome. I liked it. Beautiful, beautiful instrument.
Wrong with things.
Now, do you have a couple questions I have? Yeah. One is, do you prefer recording or live?
Good question.
Live.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
But do you have like a guitar for recording and a guitar for performance?
No, I use the same one. I mean, but that guitar, that was from G&L. G&L gave that to me back in '99. That gold.
Beautiful instrument.
It was one of a kind. Something happened that they can't make that anymore because of the paint. I don't know what happened, so I got lucky, and then I just got a new bass that's really crazy from a company called Dudicus, which is out of, I think, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And what happened? A friend of mine reached out and said, "Hey, I got a buddy that builds basses. Would you like to have one?" And of course, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, really.
The damn thing showed up in my door, so I've been playing that a little bit as well.
What color is that one, though? What's the new one?
That one's blue and sparkly.
Oh,
sweet.
We like we like sparkly.
Yeah, my band guys call me Sparkles. and honestly, since I was just trying, I'll give a shout out, which I never do, but Adrian Adonis is the singer, Sean Lowry is the drummer, and Greg Paul Carey is the guitar player.
Well, yeah.
That's what you're singing, by the way.
And really great.
And that is Nova Rex.
Yay!
And if you get a chance, check us out. We just got a new website 2 weeks ago. If you go to novarexrocks.com, all that stuff is there.
So it's Nova Rex Rocks.
Rocks with an S, yeah.
Okay.
.com.
Cool.
Perfect. Well, now you are also a national commercial.
Yeah, you got to check that out too. It's actually on the website.
So cool.
Yeah, tell us about your national commercial.
Well, what happened was I got offered to go to, I live in Oviedo right now, and down the street's the Oviedo Mall. I didn't even know it was there, but I'm like 2 miles from there. Anyways, I got contacted back at Christmas time. They want to know if I would come in and judge a ugly sweater contest.
Oh, I love ugly sweater. You've done those, haven't you? Oh my God, they're the best.
Yeah, so I went there, and it was me, the general manager of the mall, and the mayor of Oviedo. Okay, that's who was there. And well, anyways, the general manager, he happens to own a Muya burger chain. Like he has a few locations. So we shot that hamburger spot there at the mall. That's how it came around. And I thought it was funny. You know, I see all these commercials now, back to 80s, you know, talking about that decade.
Yeah.
Is that, if you notice on commercials now, you'll see Kiss or Rat on Geico commercial, or remember Europe did the microwave Geico commercial.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then you see the little Dr. Pepper guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Dee Snider from Twisted Sister had a vacuum commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
So really what it is that is all going down now, because that's that scene. I mean, they say music goes full circle. Well, it's been 30 years.
Definitely.
So now that's kind of like the thing, you know, I mean, you know, I was talking about so that's how the whole commercial thing. I was like, I want to do a commercial. You want to do a commercial?
And,
yeah.
and Kenny, I love the name. When you told it to me, I never heard of it before.
Mooyah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mooyah, MOOYAH Burgers. And are they located? Tell me where in the country they're located, so people keep an eye out for the advertising.
I never even heard of. Now, obviously, I ate the food that day. You guys will have to check the commercial when we get off. But they have 100 locations. I went and looked them up. They have 100 locations around the country. They have a couple in Dubai. They also got one in I don't know where else. They have, you know, Canada. There's a few other spots, but I think it originally started in Texas.
Texas, okay. Got a lot of burger meat in Texas.
Yeah, out of 100 locations, I think 25 of them are in Texas. So that should.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how that happens.
Well, yeah, congratulations on that. So I'm looking at your background there. Of course, it says "eat."
Yes.
Which is going to bring me to my. Yep, there we go. My next question: your fabulous book, Rockin Recipes for Autism.
I love this so much.
Can you tell us how all of this came about?
Well, you know, how it started for me was, again, radio show. And I was interviewing a buddy. Now, first of all, I have a son that has Asperger's.
Okay.
He's high functioning on the spectrum, way smarter than me, but he has some quirks and some issues. Even to the point that in middle school, I put him in a school for autism kids. Now, it was weird because they group them all together, and there's some that are like nonverbal. You know, they don't make eye contact with you.
Right.
You know, maybe they eat the same lunch every day. My kid has little issues like, well, now my son's not a kid anymore. I mean, he's 19, but he to this day still doesn't wear tennis shoes. I haven't seen him in shoes since he was probably in second grade. And it's not because of the shoes, it's because of the socks. He will not wear socks. It just irritates him.
Wow.
So with autism on every level, it's a lot of times it's a sensory thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's gotten better. Like I used to take him when he was younger to like a sports bar, because what do you do when you're a dad and you want to have a beer and you got to,
you go to a sports bar.
An 8-year-old kid, you know what I mean? But if it was really loud, he would do like this. When he was little, he would walk on his tiptoes, all little signs of autism. And then he would say weird things, like even in school. Plus he had plus that dysgraphia or whatever it's called, where you can't really write. Like
Dyslexia.
No, it's not dyslexia. It's handwriting.
Oh, the handwriting thing. Oh.
Yeah. What would happen? Like he would write his name even to the day, but it's like he's painting. It's a lot of work. So we would get him like a keyboard in class and things. They made some exceptions. But the problem with autism is, and we talked about earlier, 1 in 54 people have some form of it in the United States, which seems high. I mean, again, when we were kids, there was always that one kid in class that was just a little bit quirky, you know, had his own little thing going on. but now they have classrooms and classrooms full of these kids.
No, you're really bringing up a good point, which is I really want to talk to you about this because it is like 1 out of every 54 kids. And I know not only a number of people that have kids that are autistic. My daughter had some learning differences growing up, auditory processing problems. An awful lot of kids have an awful lot of things now.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many variables to being a child now. And it's got to be so overwhelming. And then you add, and the thing is on the spectrum, there's all different variations of the spectrum too. You can't just group them all in one place.
You can't, and the schools don't really know how to handle them because schools in general won't push you through. Public schools, they just want to push you through.
Yep, that is exactly right.
In jobs, same thing. But these kids are really, really bright. I'll give you a couple of little stories. One about autism. So my son's in 2nd or 3rd grade and asked him what his favorite color was. And he left it blank, right? So he got an X and teacher sent it home, right? And I said to my son, why didn't you fill something in? And he said, because I don't have a favorite color. I mean, everything's literal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing that this didn't happen that long ago, a few years ago, he said, Dad, and you know how they came up with the name Arby's, you know, Arby's sandwiches, right? And I said, what do you mean? He said, RB's, roast beef. I'm like, oh, I would have never thought of that.
Right.
Arby's, RB. So this weird stuff. But they say guys like even Elon Musk, I mean, that's his like go-to superhero. They say he might have some form of autism. Obviously, Beethoven, Einstein, these guys were just thinking outside the box.
Kenny, I'm even thinking of people I know, some of my adult creative friends, artists, musicians, diagnosed. It's hard to diagnose as an adult, but that is what's coming up. So then we have to like look at this, right? And ask like what's going on? Why is this? Was it like 50 years ago? Did kids have autism then, or were they just passed through the system? Well, you know, these vaccines that we're injecting, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but when my daughter had to get measles, mumps, rubella, I broke the shot up. It made me nervous. It was too many things going in her body.
Speaking of that, so I remember my son when he got his first shots like that, and they hit him all with one shot, right? Like you're talking about.
Wow.
And then we took him to the hospital the next day. I mean, he broke out in a major rash and everything. And I'm not saying I don't know. And I don't know.
But
wow.
You don't know. I don't know. You said you got vaccinated, right, Ken?
Both Tim and I have had both vaccines.
I got both Pfizer.
Aren't you glad it wasn't the Johnson & Johnson?
Yeah.
But listen, we have friends that have gotten the Johnson & Johnson.
Exactly.
Here's the deal with all of this, right? You have to look at it, and it's personal, highly personal. As parents, I just said in my head, it didn't seem right with the measles, mumps, rubella to put 3 substances in a little baby like that all at the same time. Now, you know, you can talk about the vaccines now. You can talk about Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. But with what we're fighting now, it really is the lesser of 2 evils.
100%.
You got to say to yourself, you know, me personally, I got to get out there and live my life. I got to be vaccinated. That's the deal. But I got a friend I just visited in Florida. He's not getting a vaccination for all that. He's like, I'm a vegan. I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, well, you know, some of those variants you're going to be like a sitting duck. That's my thought. But
well, no, I want to live my life too. I mean, so I get all that. And like I said, my girl just was out in California for 3 months as a traveling nurse, just giving vaccinations.
Wow.
But it's slowed down. You know what I mean? It's slowing down. That's why they started sending them
because
home.
of the vaccinations in large part. Yeah.
So
the book.
Oh, sorry, back to the book. So what happened was, so again, I have a son that has autism. I was doing a radio show and I interviewed a buddy of mine, and I go to New Orleans probably every other year. It's a little hopper for me, and I love going there for a weekend and just partying. They have great food and whatever. It's just a different lifestyle there, right? So when you go to New Orleans and you come back to Florida, you don't really want to go to Olive Garden. I mean, it takes you a week or two to recover. I was making kind of
of course.
Well, then the guy I was talking to, a famous bass player, played with a lot of people. He said to me, "Oh, I'm from New Orleans. My parents are from New Orleans. 100 years we've been from New Orleans. I have this jambalaya recipe. I'm going to send it to you." So it kind of started becoming a thing. So I had about 20 or 30 recipes collected from different musician buddies I was talking to. And then I went out and did a couple of festivals and kept meeting this company in South Florida called We Rock for Autism. It's a 501c. that does music therapy for kids on the spectrum, right? Kids with autism. I'm all about music anyways. I mean, they take it out of schools. They don't know how important that is, you know?
Yeah.
So autism or not. So after I got their story, now I have 30 recipes. I have a charity. So then I just buckled down, reached out to the rock and roll community. I didn't call any managers, lawyers, labels, nothing. Just guys that I've either played with on the road.
Kept it real, Kenny. You kept it real.
Kept it real. And now I would have liked to had, you know, a couple people that I couldn't get a hold of. But they, so I just put out the book. And like I said, it's the first one of a kind. It's never been done before. It's a rock star written cookbook. Guys just submitted recipes to me. Most of them have little family stories with them. And what I did was I started off, and it's the first time I've ever done a book, and they're very expensive. You can't believe how much paper costs, by the way.
Right?
It's like paper.
So, but basically I knew it was going to be 127 pages. So in my mind, I thought I had to get 127 recipes. But what we ended up doing is like here's like Ricky Rocket from Poison. So what we did was we took 1 page photo and then 1 page for the recipe.
Yeah.
Each recipe, and I went through a company here in Florida called Story Farm that does cookbooks. So they kind of did all the hard work, and they'll say stuff here like, here's Roy from Stone Sour, the drummer. It'll say something
like a bio.
Yeah, they'll say like, when Roy was a kid, he used to play on pots and pans, and now when he comes home, he cooks for his family.
That's great.
So each one has a little bit of a thing. There's a Twisted Sister, for instance.
I'm loving the photographs. It's great.
Joey Allen from Warrant. The thing about the recipes, I didn't really know what I was going to get, but believe it or not, a lot of these guys are professional chefs, and most of them have owned restaurants.
Oh.
Here's Steve Lukather from Toto. He actually has like a 2-year-old son with autism. So it's just, again, if you want to ever check it out, it's very inexpensive. I sell the book for $29.99. It probably should have been $50, but it's a 2-pound book. Definitely a coffee table book. And if you want to see, like I said, it's a 3-parter for me. Again, when you put out music, and we're in the studio now recording, but when you put out music, you put out a song, 6 months later, they're like, what's the new song? A year later, they're over it. Where's the new album, right? But with the cookbook, especially during the pandemic, you know how a lot of us cooked at home?
Yeah, absolutely.
My girl was actually raised in a diner. Her parents owned a diner in Valdosta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
So I know how to drink, sweet tea, catfish, cheese, and collard greens. In Indiana, none of that exists, by the way. But anyway,
cactus.
But that Southern sweet tea. Oh, yeah.
What you were saying about it being a pandemic and people cooking, I started my cooking show during the pandemic cooking with Wendy, and I what do I have, like 111 episodes?
And she doesn't cook.
No, I didn't. I didn't cook before, and I sort of cook now, but it was really about getting fun, easy recipes together for people and talking, because cooking and creating, right? We're all creative people. Exactly. Cooking and creating in that way creates love. It's fun, and it helps people.
So what are some of the fun recipes that's in
there's a lot of fun ones in here. Oh, I was going to tell you about the book real quick. Back to that real quick. Why I was going to that is because during the pandemic, my girl was pulling out the Martha Stewart book, the Paula Deen book. Paula Deen. Those books do not expire. So with a cookbook, this will not expire. It'll be good forever. And so if you happen to like to cook, you buy the book. If you happen to want to support autism or know somebody that has autism, like we all do, then you buy the book. Or if you just want to see what Doug Aldridge from Whitesnake cooks, then you're a Whitesnake fan, you buy the book. So that's why I did it. First time ever doing it. And I called it Volume 1 because I already have like 60 other recipes sitting that didn't make this book.
Pulling up the rear for the next one.
And I would love to do one. I would love to do one a year. And then, maybe 1 year I'll do a country one. To be Garth.
Oh yeah, you can do a little theme of it,
But as far as recipes, everybody asks me, some of these are over my head. But then there's also stuff that's just real cute to do. Like I've had Ricky Rocket's black bean sliders. They're vegetarian. This guy Ron Kill, he did a chili that he won it in a fair contest. He talks about his chili being a fair winner chili.
Nice.
But there's just all kinds of stuff. Now, I will tell you, I had a guy from a band called Helix out of Canada, and the bass player, and he actually did one of those with ramen noodles and tuna fish, like the crap I truly ate when I was 20 years old.
Oh my God, I ate that in college, ramen and tuna.
So it's a little bit all over the place, but altogether there's 57 iconic famous rockers that you'll know in the book. So, and if you want to get a copy and check it out, why I did the book, where the money goes to, some flip pages, etc. You go to Rockin without a G, Rockin Recipes For Autism.com.
Rockin Recipes For Autism.com.
Yeah, $29.99.
And that Rockin is ROCKIN.
Right.
No G.
I know. No
Well,
G.
Kenny, I have to say that was brilliant. That is brilliant. And now Ozzy, did you have one from Ozzy Osbourne?
No, I had it from the bass player from Ozzy.
Oh, the bass player from Ozzy. Okay.
Yeah, so it's members of kind of thing. But yeah,
Okay.
and that guy's really famous. And actually, that's Phil. Phil was the very first guy I got in the book, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I kind of knew Phil through some friends as well. But see, I mean, Phil's actually a chef. I mean, he's owned restaurants. And Phil played with Ozzy for the couple albums. That song "Shot in the Dark."
Yeah.
He wrote that song. That's his song.
Nice.
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
Then he played with Billy Idol for a couple albums. Because they're both from England. You know, they're friends. You know, they stay together.
Yeah, right.
But Phil had a great story. I interviewed Phil one time. Phil's claim to fame was he got Jimmy Page back out on the road. Remember when they did the Power Station, or what did they do that Page played on? He had an all-star band after Zeppelin after many years.
Oh, this is trivia that I
But anyways,
head.
he got the call from Ozzy and he was running. So he jumped ship, and then it was with Paul Rogers and Jimmy Page and all that, whatever that was called. But and then he was the VP of the Grammys for a few years.
Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah, but there are a lot of guys, like I said, are cooks. Last guy I got in the book was Don Dokken, you know, talking about hair bands. And we played a show with him back in October 2019, and we're eating dinner with Don, right? Before the show. And Don's like, I'm like, Don, I got this cookbook. I just sent it off. I really sent it off the day before. And he's like, dude, I'm a cook. I go in restaurants, blah, 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 blah. So then I said, stop the press. Let me send the Don Dokken recipe.
Yes.
But yeah, it's really fun.
And by the way, my best friend from Indiana has always loved and always will love Don Dokken.
Well, there you go. And I think Don. Let me find his recipe. I think Don did some kind of marinara sauce or something. But he had a funny name for it. And I've got all here it is.
What is it?
Rockin ragu sauce.
What is that?
Rockin, but he spells it like Dokken. Rockin ragu sauce. Rockin with Dokken.
That's great.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. But I got different people. You know, I grew up with the Ozzies and the White Snakes and the Poison and all that. But I also got guys like, here's Carmine Appice. I got Steve Boone from the Loving Spoonful. He's a Hall of Famer.
Get out. Wait a sec. I love Loving Spoonful. What's his recipe?
He did some kind of clam dish.
Wow.
But he lives by me. That's why I know Steve. I'm like, you know, so
I wonder if there's a connection by what recipes they create to their personality. Do you ever think about that?
Well, a little bit. That's kind of what you want to get out of it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, talking about Steve Boone. Steve Boone was nominated in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2010 by John Mellencamp, by the way.
Wow.
That's an Indiana thing for you. You know, it's funny about going to Indiana. I said to all my guys, as soon as we cross over that bridge from Kentucky, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's John Mellencamp on the hour, every hour, on every station. He's like the Bruce Springsteen of Jersey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, so that's why I did it. So yeah, Rockin Recipes.
That would be kind of interesting because some people would be like sweet and buttery, and others would be tart and salty. And
well, you have to get the book to check it out. Hey, you know, well, it's like that too. And I got a guy, if you know, a band called Enough's Enough, Chip, right? And everybody kind of knows Chip as a smoker, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so they're like, he sent some kind of chicken recipe in, and everybody was like, "Is it got weed in it?" I'm like, "No, this is a professional book."
Chicken with weed.
Chicken weed.
Yeah, but this made Rachel Ray magazine a few months back.
Nice.
So that was cool. I never thought I'd be a rocker in Rachel Ray magazine, even though she's married.
I want to know, Kenny, what food do you what's like, if we were going to say a food that you identify with, what is it?
Well, the one I got's probably pretty good. I got like a meatloaf in there that's on steroids.
You're a meatloaf kind of guy. There you go.
Yeah, meatloaf. I was going to do chili, but Ron did chili, and I'm like, I'll let him have it. So I did
Well, Kenny, I just want to say thank you for doing this book and for bringing about awareness about autism. I mean, that is such a cool, creative way of doing it.
Absolutely.
And also bringing in the rock community to support. That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
And a lot of these guys were happy. I mean, a lot of them bought books off me to give them away for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, they're fabulous.
Family and stuff like that, family recipes. But yeah, it's just part of it. Cooking, you know, it's just artists. You know what I mean? So they all and plus, just on a side note, I always like, look, everybody can cook one meal to get laid.
Yeah.
Well, you're not lumping me into that group.
my girl made me a pork chop, and I'm like, I'm in love. You know what I mean?
That's all it took to get to your heart.
Pretty much.
Made me a pork chop.
Right, pork chop.
Now, before the pandemic, I mean, you guys would do like about 100 shows a year, like for a lot of biker events. Yeah,
we play a lot of bike stuff. That's kind of how we get our bread and butter. We play, you know, your Sturgis, your Panama City. Which honestly, just to let you know, in the Panama City, I'm playing Panama City tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's the 23rd annual. I'm looking at my little scrap paper. It's the 23rd annual Thunder Beach Spring Rally. We're at the Indian Motorcycle dealership in Panama City. You won't be able to miss it. And it's sponsored by a company called Bikers Info USA. It's a new app. And if you download the app, you can enter to win an Indian Scout that the Panama City dealership is giving away.
Sweet.
Oh, and for what that worth, I'm also going to be on TV tomorrow at noon Eastern on ABC Channel 13, which I think is WMBB, whatever Panama City news is there. So.
Excellent.
Yeah,
that's very
really
cool.
I love it. I love that you're busy, you know? It's great.
I just want to take a minute because we forgot to do this at the top of the hour, but you're watching If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our incredible guest, Kenny Wilkerson. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're coming to you live from PANGEA down in the East Village. PANGEA has been a supporter of the arts, and now during the pandemic, it's time for us to get back to them.
Right.
So there is a link right down below that you can go, a GoFundMe link.
We have a GoFundMe for PANGEA,
yes, and help to support PANGEA. We would really appreciate that.
And you can come here and eat because they have beautiful outside dining, inside dining, and they've got live entertainment with more and more starting up now. We've got great weather, so please come on down to the Lower East Side. It's where it's all happening.
Or if you're going to be in Panama City tomorrow, be sure to check out Kenny Wilkerson and NovaX.
And I have the books on me, so you can get a copy of the book there.
And you can buy a
copy of the
book.
book.
At that. You can do everything in one stop.
And Kenny, online, where can people buy that book online? Where can they go?
It's Rockin without a G, Rockin Recipes For Autism.com.
Okay, and they can get it right there. Cool.
Yeah, and if you want to check out the book, which there's a link there too. Check out the band. You can go to novarexrocks.com. See what's going on there, and there's a link from that.
There we go.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, you got it.
Oh, man. Well, Kenny, I can't thank you enough. This was so cool.
Yeah.
This was just great. We need to have you come back again. Like once you're back out on the road and you're doing shows to do it and you got things to promote, you're welcome back on our show anytime.
Love talking to you. I want to do everything in person. I have to tell you, this has been a great opportunity. Tim and I have interviewed people all over the country as you get to do as well. But here's the but. It's like there's nothing like sitting with somebody and having a beer.
Yeah.
I know. Well, first of all, Tim's got to let me know when he's coming to Florida.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will
come out and I'll hook you up a little bit. I'll give you
dude, thank you.
I
a little VIP treatment down here. And, I think I'm going to run for mayor for Florida before it's over with.
Oh,
yes.
And then hopefully I'll come see you guys up that way pretty soon.
That would be great.
Anytime you're in New York, you let us know, and we will show you around this town. Definitely.
I would totally love it for sure. and I will hold you to it, by the way. It might be,
I will hold you to it as well. So there.
We'll have to hit some rock clubs, definitely.
Exactly. I appreciate you guys, and thanks for what you do, by the way.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
For
everything you're doing. We so appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Wilkerson, thank you.